Good morning, campers. Welcome back. This is Miss Jackson. I'm back with you with another math video. Today we are going to continue working on fractions. Let's get started. All right, so yesterday we learned that fraction is a part of a whole. Okay, we also learned that when it's written, you write the numerator over the denominator. We don't call it top and bottom. It's numerator over denominator. Okay, another thing that I want you to remember about a fraction is that a fraction is represented by equal pieces. So let me give you an example of what I mean by that. If I had a square, okay, and my square was split like this and then this, and I decided to shade this little piece there. This is cannot be written as a fraction because it's not equal pieces. This is not equal to these two. Okay, now if I split it like that, now we have 4 equal pieces. Okay, so whenever you write in a fraction, this will be considered 2/4. You have to remember whatever you're looking at has to be equally split. You cannot write a fraction for an image that has unequal parts. All right, so we're going to keep continuing back with our image and then our number line like we learned yesterday. And this time I'm going to use a circle. You notice this circle looks somewhat like a pizza, okay? A pie. And this circle has how many parts? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So my whole is in eighths. 8 is my whole number because that's how many parts or pieces, this fraction or circle is being split into. Now let's say if I wanted to shade 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces out of 8. My numerator would be 5. My denominator is 8. Okay, so I want to show you what that looks like on a number line. Generally, a number line does have arrows. The one that I demonstrated yesterday didn't, but that's okay. Okay, so remember our number line, the 1 represents the whole value. What was our whole number in this example with the circle? It was 8. So that means I should have, I'm jumping 8 times before I get to number 1. Okay, and mine may not be exactly perfect in spacing, but that's okay, because remember when you see it, it'll be split up equally. So let's see if I have 8 jumps here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So my 1 whole written as a fraction, you all, is 8 over 8 because 8 over 8 represents 1 whole. Now if I wanted to model this example with my circle that is in 5/8 on a fraction, you would see 5/8 shaded. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8. You can also write that on your number line. Okay, so now we're going to label our number line 5/8. That was 5/8. So now we have 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8, 6/8, 7/8, and 8/8 is equal to or equivalent to 1 whole. Okay, so now I want you to think about the number 8. And just like when you're adding, what is half of 8? What two numbers can you put together, and they have to be two of the same numbers that we can put together when we're adding, and they give us 8, which is also half of 8. That is 4. So if I add 4 plus 4, 4 plus 4 equals 8. So I now know that half of 8 is 4/8. So 4/8 would also be my 1/2 mark. Okay, so 4/8 is equivalent, that's the word we learned yesterday, is equivalent to 1/2. Now I want to show you also how we can find equivalent fractions. So remember, we went over that word yesterday. Equivalent means equal. Doesn't mean the numbers have to be the same. It means that it represents an equal amount. So I want to show you what that looks like. With this 4/8, I'm going to use this circle, but I'm going to put it here smaller and split it in 8s. Okay, so if I shaded 4 out of 8, 1, 2, 3, 4. Isn't that the same as half of that circle? So this 4/8 is the same as, and this is what this is a whole, this is a half. It's the same thing. Okay, so what we're finding is equivalent fractions. So now I want to take 2/8, 2 over 8, or 2 out of 8, and I want to find an equivalent fraction. Now this is when it's very important to know your multiplication and your division, okay? And it's also important to know your factors here. What is a factor of 2 and also 8? Basically, you're asking yourself, what can I divide by 2 and also by 8? And it's the same whole number, okay? So we could divide here by 2. When you find equivalent fractions, generally we divide or multiply, okay? We use division when we want to reduce the fraction. When you reduce a fraction, that means you are making it smaller, okay? So 2/8, I want to reduce that and find an equivalent fraction. So when we reduce, we divide. 2/8, 2 divided by 2. 2 divided by 2 equals 1. And 8 divided by 2 equals 4. So 2/8 is equivalent to 1/4. I can put 1/4 under here. And the reason I'm showing you this is sometimes when you have a number line that's already written out for you, they may not put 2/8 here. They may put 1/4 instead of 2/8. But if you know that 1/4 is equivalent to 2/8, then you know what that represents. Okay, and our last example that I want to reduce and find an equivalent fraction is 6 over 8, which is 6/8. What can I divide by 6 and also 8? Think about your multiples, think about your factors, okay? Hopefully you've been practicing your times tables. If I take 6 and divide it by 2, I'm going to do the same thing down here because you have to multiply or divide by 1 whole. And you all saw here 2 over 2, that's a whole. 2 over 2, that's a whole. 6 divided by 2 equals 3. And 8 divided by 2 equals 4. So 6/8 is also equivalent to 3/4. All right, so let's just recap what we've done so far. We've learned that a fraction represents a part of a whole. We've learned that a fraction is written numerator or denominator. We've also saw what it looks like in picture format, written out. Yesterday we did words, and if you wanted to write this one in words, 5/5 would look like this. Sorry, 5/8. 5/8. Okay. Forgot my T over here. That's 5/8. And then I also modeled what 5/8 looks like on a fraction, looking like on a number line, I'm sorry. We also went over fractions and expressed them as equivalent fractions, which means they are equal. And to find an equivalent fraction, you either multiply or divide. We use division when we want to reduce our fraction or make it smaller. Anytime you want to reduce something, if the question asks you to reduce the fraction, that means they want you to make it smaller. Another word that you may see in replace of reduce is simplify. If you simplify a fraction, that's also considered reducing it. So that means we're making it in the smallest form. So this is what we've covered today. Tomorrow we will continue with our fractions, and hopefully you're practicing what you learned today. And don't forget, believe in yourself. See you tomorrow.